to this recording in progress. Okay, nice. Welcome to episode 2 of the podcast who has no name.
Not yet, yeah.
Not yet. Cool, Alex. Hi, nice to see you again. Our second episode of our interesting
Hello.
podcast. So I don't know. Let's kick things off maybe with one of our topics, which is about your tweets on demand. Neat product that we recently launched with a couple of other guys, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about this because it shows like the power of Twitter, I guess, and like the connection power of Twitter, which is for me the most interesting part of being on Twitter. So this is what like Tweets on Demand. It's a productized service of tweet writing. So basically, you go to the website, you pick one of the packages that we have, and like you purchase that, and after 1 week, you get a number of tweets. Like the number of tweets that you purchased around a certain topic. So this is like super high level, but this is basically how it works. And the thing is that the way this came together was super fun because I do this, let's say, on the back end of my Twitter. So some people reach out to me because of my Twitter following, my threads, my tweets, blah, blah, blah. They reach out to me and they start to, ask like, can you help me with content creation, with strategy, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. And one of the things that a lot of people ask me is to help them write the tweets. And this is something that I can do for a few people, but if you have ever written a tweet, you know that it's super time consuming. So it's obviously something that is not very scalable for a lot of people too. So Tweets on Demand kind of fills the gap in the sense of it helps you. You don't have time to tweet, but you know how powerful it is to have like an active brand on Twitter. So you ask like people like us to write those tweets for you. We ask you like a lot of questions, and we get like a sense of what you want, what you need, and then we get those tweets written, and that's it. So that's how it works. I don't know if you have any doubt.
but can I like go in with I don't know, let's say my topic is something around biology and mystical trees and why I don't know why birds are the way they are. Do you like write about anything or you have some specific niches that you just cover?
Yeah, like we don't have like any set specific niche at the moment, but the thing is that since we just launched to our Twitter network, let's say, most of the niches that come are like pretty easy to manage for us. But that's why we put in motion like a series of questions. We ask like a lot of information for like a lot of questions, a lot of like people who are doing similar content that you are doing. If you have like blog posts, I don't know, like a website. So like somehow we can take all of that information and turn it into a tweet. But of course, there are like several topics like that it will be harder to do. And hopefully in the future, if this starts growing, maybe we can have like a couple of writers, like specialized in different niches and so on. But I'm talking like long term. Right now, it's just the three guys that met on Twitter, basically writing the tweets on the back end. And that's why I wanted to tell this story, because the thing is, this started because Jacob, which is someone who I followed on Twitter for a few months ago, and he was following me, like typical Twitter acquaintance that you have talked sometime, but you don't know that much. He reached out to me and he said, hey, I have this idea of productized tweet writing. I know that you do this kind of thing on the back end, like, can I ask you a couple of questions? And I was like, sure. I mean, I'm always down to help. So we jumped on a call, a 30-minute call. And the thing is, after that call, he basically asked, hey, should we build this together? And I was like, sure, but the thing is that I don't know him at all. I never met him, obviously, in person. I've changed maybe 3 or 4 DMs with him and a 30-minute call. And suddenly we are building like a product together. And that's super cool. Like that's the fun part of Twitter and why I think it's super powerful, because I don't know what Twitter has, but it has this element of confidence and trust in complete strangers. At least that's how it is for me. No, I don't know this guy for all it's worth. He could be like I don't know, Nigerian prince kind of scam,
Yeah.
But he's not, like he's a really cool guy. He builds a lot of products. He's like constantly building, and we just jumped onto that call, figured a few things. He put together like a landing page. I helped him a bit with the copy writing, and then we just like put it out there and people started to contact us. So
that's cool. And do you mind sharing a bit like not like maybe the revenue numbers or anything like that, but does it have, do you see like this thing could actually be a cool source of income that is manageable and so on, and maybe you have as well some customer feedback already, or
yeah, 100%. Like that's the thing. I was surprised. I mean, we also contacted someone else, which is Anthony, which is a writer that I know from other projects, and like he also writes tweets and so on. So it made sense for us to contact him as a third piece member of the team. And once we have like this little team, is what I said, we put it together. But basically, Jacob made like a thread. I basically quote retweeted, and that was it. Like that was all the promotion that we did, and people started to reach out to me privately, to Jacob, to Anthony, the other guy, and right now, I mean, I checked before this call, and we have like 20 something people who left their data to be contacted, and we already did. I think it's like half of the let's say gigs, freelance gigs, if you want to call it whatever. We already did those, so this is like people that already paid. So I don't know the exact revenue numbers because right now we don't have this super centralized or anything, but
yeah,
I would
but
say
it has. But actually, like you've already done it for several people, and it's like a monthly subscription, right? It's not like one-time thing.
Yeah, right now it's a one-time thing because we have the cool thing about this is that we put it together so fast that there is basically no systems in place right now. So it's just us doing everything manually because we wanted to see if it scales. If it scales, no, if it has like some demand, and it has demand. So right now the mission for the next month, is going to be like, okay, let's try to put some systems. Let's try to get some work out of our shoulders, and let's see how it works. But the fun thing about all of this is that it comes from a couple of random DMs, like one call, and you put something together that makes right now, I think, I don't know the exact numbers, but I think it's over 2K of revenue already, and that's pretty crazy if you think about it. So
oh yeah, of course, like from a couple of DMs and some landing pages you quickly put together, definitely. One question related to this product, like if I would do something like that, one of the fears which I would probably have is like, but what if they don't like what I wrote? What if they ask a lot of revisions? What if they say, oh my God, no, this is a complete crap? Like, do you have those, or it's like super small percentage that actually discards your stuff?
So the thing right now is that this is like a product. So if you buy this amount of tweets and you get this amount of tweets, there is like no revisions involved. So we get that out of the system. But since we are like good people, we have like a money back guarantee. So if you are like 100% not satisfied with it, we get the money back. Like it's not like a big deal. The only thing is, obviously, if you pay for the tweets, you say you don't like it, but I see you using them, I'm going to say something to you. I mean, hopefully that hasn't happened yet. So far, like customer satisfaction is high. Like people are happy with it. So no, it hasn't happened, but I understand the fear, and it's something that it's hard to figure out because like it's a tweet is super personal, and you really don't know what quality you are going to get. Obviously, like I think we are kind of experienced writers, all of us, so you are going to get good quality, but it might be something that you don't expect. So so far it hasn't happened, but it will happen for sure, and I will have more insights on that.
Yeah, cool. That's cool. Yeah, actually, like guys in my visual community as well, like started to talk about this, and it was interesting discussion that I shared I shared this product, and I think it could be a very good market for visuals as well. And I think even 100%. For visuals, it might be like probably even better because a lot of people have already the text, and visuals is like just a nice unique twist you can do on top of them, which could drive some extra eyeballs on the thing. So I mean, this is an interesting model.
I definitely see it happening like with visuals too, as you said. Even you can do it even, obviously every designer or every visual designer has their own unique style. So you have like your own unique style, but you can always adequate it to the brand, just saying like, imagine like you put a form and you ask like, what are the 3 main colors that you want to use, and then you use those colors on the design, and it's already like kind of branded, you don't need to have like anything. So I definitely see it happening. So maybe this is something that like in the visual community, you could start like move.
I know there was already some people who are interested to do that. I'm not kind of that's not part of my goals this year, but definitely an interesting thing, and I think it could take off for sure, but probably takes some work as well. Awesome. Good.
Yeah,
thanks for sharing this.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, cool. Okay, maybe next one I can take, and I can share a quite fun story how I got. It's not entirely how I got the gig with Steven Barlett, which is kind of a pretty huge influencer in Europe. Yeah. I didn't know him, but yeah, he's like 1.4 million on Instagram, and he has like one of the top business podcasts in Europe, as I understood.
He's also like the host of Dragon's Den, which is like the UK version of this one that you pitch your product in front of like 4 millionaires. I don't know what's the name.
Shark Tank.
Shark Tank, exactly. So he's like Dragon Den in the UK. So he's like one of the dragons. So he's like, big stuff.
Okay, yeah, that I actually didn't know. I somehow did not know much about it, but it's quite fun story how I started to communicate with him. Basically, it was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago. Mm-hmm. One guy on Twitter or Instagram, didn't remember where, reaches out to me and says like, "Hey, Janis, I saw like the Steven Bartlett's LinkedIn account shared this visual of yours, and he had like his own some text, blah blah blah, and then my visual, but that visual was like without my signature, and early on in the Instagram I added not my @Janis Ozolinch at the bottom right corner, but I added Janis.studio. So that was something that I did in Instagram early on, but later on I decided that I will not do it as well. I'm not crediting my work at all on the visuals itself. And but it was and that guy kind of reached out to me. He said I kind of added the comment on that LinkedIn post, and I guess they deleted it or something like that, and they have not credited you, and they have like cut out my that Janis.studio. And when I actually went to that post, I saw like, damn, they actually have cutted it out,
Wow.
That was like, and I usually I don't care, people can take my visuals and like post on their stuff. I never chase them, I never ask anybody like, hey, credit me or whatever. Yeah, of course, if it's happening too often and it's get too unethical, then maybe I will reach out and just ask. But this was an interesting case because a random dude sent me this long message, blah blah blah, and I'm checking it out like, yeah, okay, but in general I don't care. But for some reason I decided, okay, why not? I'll just DM him on Twitter, and I just said like, hey Steven, by the way, this guy reached out to me, and I was like super polite. I was like, I don't know what's the case or whatever, but maybe in future just you can add my name or something. I didn't remember exactly what I said, and he was like super nice. He was like, oh my god, Janis, so sorry, this is probably very awful for you. And he was just like super nice, and he said like, a new team member joined our thing, and maybe he don't know the rules or something, let me fix this. And like he fixed everything, and he was like extremely polite, and like initially I had the thought like, maybe he's a bit of a dick or something like that. After our conversation I completely okay, he's actually like a really dope dude, and just probably extremely busy, and team is all over the world and so on. So yeah, we had our little chat or whatever, and he just like said, yeah, really awesome content and so on. He started like following me on Instagram and actually shared some of my work and like his stories. So that was initially really cool because he had like 1.4 million, which is insanely,
it's crazy.
Insanely a lot. And yeah, basically after a month or two, he reached out to me on Instagram, do I want to kind of work with him? He had like his secret project. I can't really talk about it because it was the first it was the first time I had a freelance gig where I needed to sign the NDA. So it's quite serious. So yeah, and ended up working for him. Very small gig, but still was a cool project. But it's very interesting how this kicked off. Like a random dude shared me that he have shared my visual. I kind of reached out to him to change, and then we have a laugh, a conversation, whatever. He fixed those things. So it's very interesting again how the internet works, and it was a nice experience, and just wanted to share this story. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, and you probably got someone fired too, so that's fun too. No, I'm just joking.
yeah, and this kind of reminded me again to, usually assume good intent, or what's the quote, that often we think somebody do something and we think, oh my God, what a dick, what a bastard, blah blah blah. But actually, if we just politely like reach out on or something, we understand that it's no big deal. It's not like he cares not to credit somebody or whatever, it was just some misunderstanding and he has a big team and so on.
I think that happens a lot with creative work. Like people just take it and they post it as not as their own, but like they post it mostly with visuals. I see it like a lot, like posting the visual and they don't even know where it comes from and they feel like it's fine. And if you just reach out, it's probably like 99% of people really happy to give attribution, like it's nothing crazy. I mean, there is always like this small percent of people that like to steal content in a non-ethical way. Sorry. So, but that's like a small percentage. I think the assume good intent is like the right way to approach this kind of stuff.
And we always need to remember, like, especially, with my type of content where I don't add my credits and in the visual itself, and you don't do that as well. Like what we need to understand is that probably maybe somebody have taken that visual and posted in the 9gag or whatever, or Reddit. And then some other person see that in Reddit and he have no clue that it's your visual and he just shares on YouTube. And it's like, you need to understand that as well. It's not like all the people see your content always. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, but the fun part is that it eventually came back to you and it gave you like a freelance gig with someone like cool, like Steve. So that's nice, like, and the cool thing is that some people, that your brand is recognizable enough for someone, to see your visual and say, hey, that's Janis visual. So I will just, but he's not tagged here. So I will just talk him. So, like, that's also interesting.
That's actually a really good feeling when you see people like do something and behind your back, people recognize you and they just like, by the way, that's for them. And I have done this actually for several other visual creators where people just take their visuals and share, and I just add who was the initial author or whatever. But it's interesting. It's interesting how internet works. And okay, what's else on our big list? Do you, Alex, want to take this one about the imposter syndrome tax concept, which you had a visual that you actually recently shared? Oh, maybe bring it up so people can see it, but you can start talking.
Yeah. So the thing is, I've been now it's 2022. So I've been freelancing since October 2020. So 1 year and 4 months, 3 months, something like that. And the biggest struggle I always have had and still have about freelancing is pricing, right? So for me, it's like one of the highest things because it's just not about making money. It's also about like fighting your own inner like imposter syndrome. Am I worth it? Should I charge this much? There it is. So that's the thing. And very early on, this is something that I came up with, which I call the imposter syndrome tax, because I knew that my first freelance gig, I knew 100% that I was underpricing myself. Because I was too scared, I was like, so I need this gig because it was my first freelance gig. I hadn't had a job for the last 3-4 months. So I kind of need this gig, but at the same time, I don't want to underprice myself. So I came up with this imposter syndrome tax saying, okay, I did like all the maths, so this work is going to take me that many hours and more or less, this is how much I want to make per hour. So this is more or less the price that I want to share with this person. And then I said, this is probably underpricing. My imposter syndrome is doing the talking. So let's add like a 20% on top of it. So that's what I did. And now looking back, I still think I undercharge 100%. So I should have added like a 70% or 80% for sure. And, but I think here the concept is not that much the percentage of increase, but like the imposter syndrome tax thing. So now one thing that I always do is like, if it feels uncomfortable to send the price, then probably I am putting like the right price. If I'm too comfortable with the price, it means that probably I'm undercharging somehow, and obviously there is like a lot of variables here, like who is the other person, like which country are they from? All of that obviously affects the money that you can get from a freelance gig. But, as a general thought, I think that the price that you come up, always try to add like an extra something percent, because you are probably undercharging yourself. And even I've been doing, as I said, freelancing for over a year now, and that's not too much compared to other people's careers or persons. But 1 year I think it's enough. I learned a lot, but still, like, I'm struggling a lot with pricing, and this is my way to fix it. I don't know if you had like the same issues with pricing your work, or you are more like, you don't have that imposter syndrome in terms of pricing. But I think it's super interesting for me to hear about pricing from other creators, because everyone does it differently. So
no, I definitely feel it as well. I guess it's very nice, especially I think it kicks in, if it was like situation as it was for you, 3 months without work, you got fired from your job. So maybe you are in a bit more situation where you kind of need this gig, more or less. And that is kind of a very scary place to be. I think for me, the lucky part was that I was never intended to do freelance. I never thought I will do actually freelance. I was like, I have saved up money. Seems that visuals are working. Let's focus on growing the audience and so on. And just those gigs kind of came in, and I somehow, but of course it's always hard to say no to money, and to those, but yeah, that flexibility that you don't need, it definitely gives kind of place for it. But still, I'm clueless about how much I charge and so on, and is it good or bad, but it's been 50-50. Some people have said like it's too expensive, and some people have said yes without the blinking. So it kind of gives me understanding, okay, there's probably room to go a bit higher. But still, I would rather charge less, but work with projects and clients that I really want to work for, instead of charging more, but maybe it's some huge corporation. It's like not maybe great people or something like that.
This is like a super interesting, because this is a mistake I almost did, but I didn't do. So like a couple of months into my freelancing journey, I received like not an offer, but like someone was interested in working with me, and they were willing to pay like a lot of money at the time, which was a lot of money at the time for me. But it also involved like a huge time investment on my end, which meant that I didn't get to work with other clients or other like small projects. And the project, it wasn't that interesting and that like, sexy for me, I guess. So I said yes at the beginning, but I spent like a terrible night of sleep. I was like, and when I woke up, I said, if I'm like worrying that much about the project, even if it's like huge like amount of money, I feel like my gut is telling me to say no. So next day I emailed the guy, the CEO, and said, hey, I'm sorry, but I can't do it. Just, I don't know what excuse I said at the time, but whatever, but is that gut feeling of, even if it's a lot of money, like money shouldn't be like the driver of decisions of who you work with, because, as you said, I prefer to take less money, but work with clients that I enjoy, like projects that I like. And this is a mistake I almost did. I didn't do it, but yeah, just wanted to say that it reminded me of that.
Definitely. And I think it's kind of, we always need to understand like what usually we think it's like money and the time of hours you sit at the computer and do the work. But what we usually don't take into consideration is that night worrying for you, or just walking around pacing and stressing out for some deadlines or something like that. And all that needs to be taken into consideration. It's like stress and all that stuff is way, way more important. And so it's not only about money, but work on really cool projects. But yeah, I love the imposter syndrome talks. I love the visual. I think it's a great advice to always like raise your prices. I remember that I recently, a couple of months ago, watched one of the Matt Diavela's video, who was like a big YouTuber, and he was like a freelance videographer early on. And he has his own agency. And I remember he shared in one video that he raised his prices every year. He even reached out to his existing clients and just a couple of months before ahead, hey, by the way, like I'm raising my prices, this is my new tax, and la 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 la. And usually all the existing clients said, yeah, fine with us, because they understand your like equipment goes up, your skill goes up, everything goes up. So that's an important reminder. I should probably actually consider this as well. Cool.
Me too. Beware existing clients. I'm going to raise my taxes.
I don't have existing clients. I usually have just more work like on project basis. But yeah, cool. Okay. What we have another topic in our thing. Oh yeah, about respecting your audience's attention. This is something, this is more like an assumption I have, and I guess, some sort of mental model that I have created for myself and how I have approached content creation and Twitter in general. I would like to hear your feedback on this as well.
Sure.
But here's kind of the story. Like in my course as well, I have a short section where I talk about that we need to respect our audience's attention. Like if we want to, if we want to get freelance gigs, if we want to grow on Twitter and so on, we need to respect our audience's attention. And what I mean by that is you can post good posts, high signal posts, very valuable, insightful, whatever. It can be your personal stories, visuals, doesn't matter. But you understand when you are just shit talking and just talking bullshit. I had pancakes for breakfast. It's fine to say it once in a while, but if you are doing it every day and just 5 times a day, it just starts to get annoying. And I believe people will just start to ignore you and tune out and not engage in your content that much. So kind of the framework I try to go about is like 80% of the time when I post something, I want my audience kind of to feel in a way that when Janis posts something, he usually posts really good, high quality stuff. So when Janis posts something, I want to lean in, I want to read this, I know it's good, and so on. That's kind of the feeling I try to create. And that's something similar how I feel about some other creators as well. For example, Julian, big creator on Twitter, and he posts like extremely rarely, 1 thread a week. Now he have not posted for quite a while, but it's like always when I see Julian's icon, in my feed, it's 100% I will stop and I will just read it. Maybe I will start to read and I will understand, okay, this thread is not relevant to me, maybe something about angel investing or something, okay, not that interested about that, I might tune out. But he have trained me that he posts really good stuff and I always stop. Same is for you and same is for a lot of other creators I do. And once I heard from, I think from Sean actually, that Twitter does not, okay, no, actually, maybe it was Julian as well. And it's partly true in the beginning that Twitter does not punish bad content. You can post shit. If it's shit, people will ignore. If it's good, people will tune in.
Yeah.
And I think there is somewhat true to that. If your goal is, to hit viral threads, viral hits, and so on, I think then it might be more or less fine to just shit talk and do whatever you want. And you have your viral thread, you get your 30K followers or whatever from that one thread and you are good. But I don't know. What do you think about this? How's your feeling? Because to me, it's yeah, I feel
yeah.
intrigued.
I think this is
intrigued what other think
this
about
is the classic debate between quality versus quantity and like signal versus, but not signal versus noise, but more like quality versus quantity, I guess. So there is this belief that you need to be consistent at tweeting to grow on Twitter, and that's true at a certain point of the journey, because if you have 100 followers and you only tweet once a week, chances are that no one is going to like pay attention to that. But once you reach like a certain growth stage, and I don't want to say a number because it's hard to say, it's way easier to transition to this like more high signal mode. And I think this is something that we should all aspire to do, because I agree with you that sometimes when I follow a lot of people, and sometimes when I see someone post like 8 tweets a day, it gets tiring for me, and it's not because the content is bad or anything. It's just like, I've seen you 10 times today. I don't want to see you 2 more. So, but as you said, like for me, Julian is a perfect example. I don't know. Yeah, Julian tweets like twice per week, something like that. But every time he tweets, it's a banger. It's going to be good. And if the topic is interesting, then you are going to be, spending 10 minutes of your day reading this and try to understand. So, like that's probably the other opposite end of it. So for me, in my case, what I'm trying to do right now is find a balance between, like how many posts is it good for me to put out to keep like growth consistent, but at the same time to keep like high signal. So every time that I tweet, everything that I tweet, I try for it to be like high signal, or that somehow helps someone. It's not like shit posting. I never post like, good morning, here I am, like drinking an orange juice or something like that, because it feels like, I mean, I can do it, as you said, like once in a while, but it doesn't bring like value. And I'm trying to build like a brand that builds value, that brings value to people. It's not like my own personal feed where I share, like today I did a workout and tomorrow this. It's not that kind of account that I'm trying to build on Twitter. And it's perfectly fine if you're doing those things. But if you're trying to be like someone more high signal and like you and me are trying to do, so it's an interesting approach.
I think it's actually, I can bring in another topic which I had, but I think it makes sense to talk about it here as well. And it was about, well, basically the idea is that, we see somebody and we aspire to create similar feed as well. This person tweets this, for example, Sean Puri. He tweets a lot of like random stuff and is all over the place. He keeps it fun for himself and so on. It's like a lot of shit, a lot of randomness, but a lot of interesting stuff as well. And I think basically the thing I'm trying to say here is that you need to understand who are you and kind of what thing you are trying to build. Because for example, if we take Sean, that guy have built a bunch of like businesses. He's an investor. He could delete his Twitter account and could like not care less about it or whatever. He don't need Twitter, it's more like it would be the same for following Elon Musk or anybody who have main business is outside Twitter. But for you and me, Twitter is kind of the main business for us. It's our main source of income. So you need to understand in which bucket do you land. And if Twitter is your main source of income, then probably you need to like as well. I'm not like 100% or nothing. That's why I said like 80% of the time I try to do high signals, but 20% of the time, be human, be whatever. People like to see drinking you the orange juice. So I think it's just important to understand where do you stand, what are your goals, and that if you will post random stuff like Sean does and you want to build like business from Twitter, it might not work. It might work for some. There's always exceptions, but that's kind of how I think about this. And I see this mistake all over the place where people try to like copy somebody that they shouldn't copy because their goals are completely different in situations.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also think it's the thing about Twitter is that the more followers you have, the more you can do whatever you want in a sense. So for example, when I started out, I was super focused on the topics that I wanted to talk about because I knew that if I start to talk again about my dog or whatever, people won't care because I'm not like relevant enough, I guess. And it's a bit sad.
To be fair, some percentage will care. We build relationships, and
course.
Probably you would like to see me drinking orange juice, and I would like to see you drinking orange juice.
Yeah, but I mean, I of course, like, and I'm the first that I like to share my like personality, but I always try to do with some constraints because of that. But now that I have more followers, I'm more free. Now I can start posting pics of my dog, and more people will care probably because I already have these relationships established. But the thing is that when you start, you need to be like super focused, and then the more you grow, the more you can, I think, diversify and start to bring like your own personality there somehow.
I agree. So, and I've noticed that as well. For example, I think a good example would be Jack Butcher as well, because like before a year he was more, let's say, now I feel like he's not posting like shit. He's posting really good stuff, but I can totally see how he's using Twitter as a place to see just what sticks, and he doesn't care at all, if he get like 0 likes or whatever. He just
I've seen the switch, like he was more let's say super high signal, I think like 6 months ago or more, and now he's like
sitting on toilet writing a good tweet and just publish, don't care, don't whatever.
Because as you said, right now he built his business on top of Twitter, but right now probably he doesn't need Twitter anymore. He has like his NFTs, his all of stuff going in the background. So, like he's a trillionaire right now, so he doesn't care that much about it. I mean, not a trillionaire, but you know what I mean.
This should be our podcast headline. That's how we could get views. Jack Butcher is a trillionaire.
Yeah, maybe. So that's what I meant. Like right now he's at the stage that he tweets whatever he wants, and he's obviously entitled to do it. So we are not at that stage, but maybe we will get there someday, and we'll start tweeting weird stuff too.
but by the way, you did see in the morning I saw like he and Traft from Twitter and another guy, they created this product under the value.app, which was previously you can just go to value.app and basically they created the tool where you can add your wallet, Ethereum wallet address, and it counts your portfolio. So I was like, I checked out mine, I checked out somebody else's, and I checked Jack Butcher's as well because he have like visualized value dot ETH. So I checked out, and his like portfolio with NFTs was 500,000 there, but that's only that wallet. So I don't know. I think he has some CryptoPunks and all of his NFTs. No, his NFTs he don't own.
Yeah.
So but he have a lot of toads and different kind of stuff. But yeah, it's it's a cool tool. It's an interesting. So I was having my morning coffee and I was checking out other people's portfolios, how much money they have in their
I should check mine because I have like a couple of NFTs, but it's like super random, you know, most of them.
Do you have ENS name? Or no?
No, yeah. I want to buy it. You know, it's something that I want to buy, even just to have it. You know, like I'm not like, I'm super into Web3 and everything that is building, but I'm not like participating, you know, like hands-on participating with buying NFTs and so on yet, because I did cave into the FOMO like a few months back with when everything was starting to pop, and I'm pretty sure I lost a couple of hundred euros there, and you know, so not lost, but like, you know, you get into the FOMO because you think, oh, so this collection, you know, you see people selling things for thousands of dollars, and you go, okay, so I'm going to buy this one, and then, you know, like a couple of months later, it's worth nothing. Which I know is not the point. Like, I know you shouldn't get into NFTs to speculate, even if that 90% of people are doing it because of a speculation. If I want to participate in something like this, it has to be like a project that goes beyond, you know, like the money at least. So I haven't found that yet. I haven't even looked too much into it. I'm really intrigued about NFT games, you know, like the play to earn thing. This is super interesting, like Axie Infinity. I don't know if you heard about it, but that's super interesting. And
I've heard
we can talk about it. We can talk about it another day because, you know, you can talk about this like for hours. But yeah, just it's not my focus right now. NFTs like investing, but I do keep an eye on it because I think it's super interesting for creators. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But in your case, I know that you sold a few, so I'm curious, like, what was the mindset, or it was just like experimenting to see how it works?
Well, in general about the NFTs, I have very similar vibe as you. I'm kind of keeping my eyes open, but not doing too much because I was a bit in the crypto things when there was like the previous hype was before 2 or 3 years ago. Then I kind of bought some and I was like trading shit coins and all that stuff. I was just going crazy. But of course, in the end, I kind of lost money at that time. But now, then I was like, okay, fuck this, fuck this stuff. And I went back to my regular life. And now my portfolio, because I didn't sell anything as well, and like my portfolio kind of grew back now to this day to the previous amount which I kind of put in. So I just wasted a bunch of time with day trading and doing stupid stuff. So for this NFT hype cycle, I was like, no, I don't want to play that game again. I was like, putting it Bitcoin and play it safe. But yeah, about the NFTs, I just saw, you know, Jack Butcher created some, then a couple of other creators created some. It was like a lot of people, not a lot of people, but several people said like, hey, Janis, why you don't do NFTs? Your content is super NFT-like. I was like, well, yeah, kind of makes sense. I could try it out. So I just tried, and one by one, without much pressure. And some people bought, you know, Jamie Russo bought and some others bought, but I think mostly people bought from just kind of to support me because I didn't have anything to sell, but I was kind of producing content for quite a while, and people just, you know, kind of wanted to give back to me or something like that, or just be part of the journey. But later on, one thing I did, which was actually a cool thing, I assigned this utility to my NFTs. I said, okay, actually anyone who have been first time purchaser for my NFTs, I will give you the access to my course as well. So that was kind of just a nice thing, you know, if NFTs and if, like, I don't know, Ethereum goes dying or whatever, then people at least get some sort of value from it. So that was one thing I did. But actually, one interesting thing which happened with my NFTs was that Jamie Russo bought my first one, which was like the cheese NFT, you know, dream project task, and like slice and start. My favorite visual of this year. And he bought the initial one for like 0.1, I don't know, quite small amount of money. But later on, there was a guy who wanted to get that NFT. And kind of on Twitter, he mentioned out like, I didn't remember what he said, but he said something like that. Yeah, I wish I could bought this or have this or something like that. And Jamie was like, name the price or something, and just added the OpenSea link to it. And that guy kind of gave for it created a bid for 1 Ethereum, which was like 4,000 euros. I was like, holy shit. And like and I remember Jamie was like reaching out to me, yeah, I really don't want to buy this. I was like, fuck yeah, you want to not want to buy this but want to sell this. I was like, for sure you want to sell it. And then he was like, yeah, just that was pretty cool to see that he resold it and made like bunch of money on top of it. Okay, he's like a super nice to creators. He just bought a bunch of other NFTs and some of mine and so on. But that was really cool to see.
Yeah, but I guess that when you buy into like the NFT mindset, so buying digital art, if you go into like the digital art part, this is like buying one of the first pieces. I don't know. I don't want to compare you with Picasso, but to make the example, like buying one of the first pieces, and then imagine that I buy this now, and in 10 years, you are like a super recognized author, like you have 3 or 4 books out there, and you have like 1 million followers. Then that NFT, is going to be worth a lot of money in the future, So it's also like it's supporting you, but at the same time, it's a bet on your future potential, I guess. Too.
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking about it as well. We'll see how it plays out. It's hard. It's hard, of course, to tell, but it's interesting. It's interesting to witness. But yeah, I try to keep my eyes open, but not super into all of the NFT game, because it feels like when you go in there, it's hard to get out, and there is so much going on. It takes so much time, so I would just not have time for anything else.
I just read one tweet like before getting into here that one guy, he owns like a Bored Ape, like this famous collection, and he says, like, this is the tweet, and it's like, I'm sitting here in my living room of my tiny apartment. I don't know how many square feet, but like small, in my couch with we pay like 2K per month, and I received it was like $500,000 offer for my Bored Ape, and I said no. And if you don't get that, then it's too late for you, or something like that. And I was like, dude. I mean, I respect like the conviction, that this guy has on the NFTs and so on. But man, they are giving you like $500,000. This is like life-changing money for most people. Just take it, man. I don't know. I mean, that's what I would do, but maybe I'm not. I mean, I think there is like this danger of being too much into NFTs that you don't see like opportunities like this, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just being like not understanding the full picture here, but for me, it's kind of crazy to reject that kind of money, because not because I want the money, but because this is life-changing money, in the sense that it gives you peace of mind. You can buy a house with that money, so I don't know.
Oh yeah, but of course it's kind of, it's important to understand, maybe he don't need a day job, or I don't know, maybe he had, if you don't have a day job, and if you're just like, what, I mean, in the
point of the tweet was I'm paying a lot of rent, I'm in a super small apartment, but I'm rejecting this because I believe, that, I mean, he kind of needs the money, he's not like a millionaire that, $500,000 more or less, he's like a regular dude like us, getting $500,000 offer in the table. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tricky question, but I guess I'm not educated enough in the NFT space to kind of to tell. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it was curious.
So, do we have something else? Do we want to talk more, or do we want to wrap this up?
Yeah, I think we don't have anything else for today, so it's almost like 40 something minutes. I think we can wrap it up for this one.
Let's close it for the day.